Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, Drea Michelle was drug fulfilled so badly that she had to mute her comments on her social media pages, allegedly. And she was being drug fulfilled so badly because she announced her pregnancy for the guy that she's been messing around with by the name of Jalen Green, who's a young 22-year-old basketball player. Now, the issue that is wrong with this situation for anybody who, for some reason, might not understand, this woman is almost 40. The young man who she is calling herself dating and now having a child for is 22 years old, the same age as one of her own biological sons. I'll never understand how anybody, man or woman, can ever be in a mental place where they can have a child with somebody that is their child's age. That is crazy to me. That is wild. And it's sick, really. I don't understand it, really. And she's raggedy for doing this. I've said it before, when the men do it, I'll say it when the women do it, because I don't promote double standards. Now, while we're talking about double standards, there's a lot of people who have an issue with this subject because, once again, the double standards, especially within the black community, that is promoted around this particular subject. I said before, I'll drag the men for doing it, I'll drag the women for doing it, because I don't promote double standards. Now, a lot of people were mad because they were saying, okay, now, whenever we call out the men for doing this, the men who are like in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, who are dating young women in their early 20s and barely legal, y'all say we just bugging, that we're just mean, bitter old bitchs who are just mad because they don't want us anymore, we're washed up, we've hit the wall, you know. But it's really just women calling out men for doing what's wrong. The same thing we would do when it's a woman doing the same thing. But we seem to not get that same energy towards the men. It seems to be more acceptable when the men do it. And I know that for a fact because I made a video trying to call out a particular individual who was encouraging rhetoric and a sick mindset where 20, 30, 40 plus year old men were thinking it's okay to be with, have relations with 16-year-olds. Teenagers, children essentially, 20-something-year-olds in their early 20s. That'll never be okay whether it's a man or a woman. And I'm going to call it out every time I see it. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. People need to date in their own age range. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and plus, whether you're a man or a woman talking about you're entitled to date somebody in their early 20s, somebody who's barely legal or a teenager, you're a sick-minded individual. There is nothing you can say to justify dating somebody, sleeping with somebody that has that big of an age gap between you and them. It's unacceptable, it's unexcusable, and it always will be. And we also shouldn't be out here trying to win at the who can do the most wrong and get away with it Olympics. We should be striving to do better, and be our best selves. Not do the worst that we can do and then expect people to coddle us and not hold us accountable. It doesn't work like that. And another issue that people have with this situation, which I've talked about on this channel, I haven't talked about it recently, but I have made some videos about it, where there are people who are constantly pointing out, and this is why I like to go to Twitter a lot of times, because even though it is a hellscape of an app, as I've said before, it has a lot of people who tell the truth. They'll lie to you on YouTube and on Instagram, but they're going to tell you the cold-blooded truth on that Bird app. People love to put women who look like Drea Michelle on a pedestal and fetishize them and try to make them the standard of woman to have. These be the same women that are not in relationships because they actually want a future. They don't carry themselves with class and self-respect. They don't actually want anything from the guy except for sex, a pretty baby, and his money. And then when women call this out, they call these other women out. After all the podcasts that have been made about women not holding other women's feet to the fire, they try to call these women out. And just simply because a lot of them don't look like the Drea Michelles of the world, they call these women ugly, bitter, and haters. It happens all the time, which is why a lot of women, they tap out of these conversations. They don't even try to warn some of these basketball players and football players about these women that they keep choosing to mess with because they already know what these men are going to tell them. Oh, you're just mad because we don't want you. It's not our fault that we don't want you and we don't fetishize you, because that's what it really is, that you're not our preference, but it's really a prejudice. That's what they won't tell you. That's the kind of stuff that they tell the women who try to look out for them by warning them about the Drea Michelles of the world. And those men will continue to put these women on a pedestal and continue to fetishize them, idolize them, until these women turn on them and throw them under the bus. And that ties into another thing I've been talking about, like I said, on this channel for quite some time now, which is our raggedy culture. This person on Twitter said, "Why are y'all acting surprised now? Why are y'all acting like this now? This is how the black community operates, or at least a lot of people in it. This is the kind of culture that has been normalized, idolized, and defended. Having children out of wedlock like there's no tomorrow. Like y'all don't know that these kids need two parents in the house who are functional and non-toxic to help raise them also be functional and non-toxic. Jumping from one bed to the other, not actually have any kind of intention whenever you're dating. This is the culture that our black community has put on a pedestal. And now y'all have a problem with it because one of y'all favorite basketball players who's coming up, who's a rising star, if you will, looks like he might be getting taken advantage of. It's the delayed reaction for me. It's the delayed outrage for me. Once again, not being mad about something until it personally affects somebody who you think highly of, who you put on a pedestal, or it irritates some crazy mentality that you have and now you have a problem with it. If we really want to be honest, the truth is some people can't handle. Some of these people are not dragging her because they think what she's doing is wrong. Some of these people are just dragging her because she really low-key did what the men who are predators do to some of these young women. Now, some people were trying to liken her, if you will, unto R. Kelly, and I thought that was a bit overboard because the guy that she messed with, he's 22 years old. Technically, he's an adult. I still think it's very wrong, although she wasn't out here, to my knowledge, messing with underage boys. Some people tried to say that she groomed him, but again, that's not technically and legally correct because grooming occurs when a minor is involved. She would have had to have gotten to him when he was like 15 or 14 and then prepared him for the idea of being with her and then married him at like 18 or 19. That's technically how grooming works. A lot of people don't want to hear this, but he was an adult when he chose to be with her. Like I said, I'm holding her accountable for being almost 40, messing with a dude that was young enough to be her son. But unfortunately, we've also got to talk about what in the world was going through his head. Once again, we've talked about this on this channel. I know that at the early 20s age, they're not mature. Their brains are still developing. But you mean to tell me that at 22, he didn't know that laying down with a woman old enough to be his mother, first of all, was not the right thing to do. And second of all, having unprotected relations with her could get her pregnant. You mean to tell me he didn't know that? And the reason why I mention that is because people like to babyfy people in their early 20s. Once again, yes, I understand they're not that mature, but that does not excuse them from making poor decisions, unwise decisions, unintelligent decisions. Because now they both have a child coming into this world, and while they both have money to take care of the child, neither of them are in the mental position to understand what it is like or what it should be required of them to raise a child. Or anybody says that I'm bugging by saying that, there were men on the internet holding him accountable for that decision that he made. Y'all just go ahead and read those comments that they posted on there. I'm gonna just leave that at that. Now, some people were trying to say that she was trying to trap him, and like I've said before, quite frankly, I wouldn't put it past anybody. I wouldn't put it past somebody like Drea Michelle. I really wouldn't. Now, I don't think that she really needs his money, maybe in the future, because apparently, allegedly, she has her own businesses. But I think the main reason why she did this was just because she was being irresponsible. She wanted to have another baby. She literally set up and said this. Allegedly, she said that, hey, I talked to him, he talked to me, we were dating, and I was like, hey, you want a baby? He was like, sure, I want a baby. And they just decided to have a baby. She didn't even get in a relationship with him because she wanted anything out of the relationship. Again, dating with no absolute intention. She just got into the relationship just because. And if y'all don't believe me, take a listen to this clip right here.
Oh yeah, I want more kids.
Like how many?
Like one, I think.
So like the person you're dating, you see like a future with them?
I think the question you were asking me is if I wanted more kids, and I feel like I want more kids, and I feel like at this point in my life, right?
Yeah.
The relationship is amazing to have, right? But that's not what I'm basing having a kid on, because I'm very non-traditional. I feel like you can co-parent without being in a relationship. Maybe just two people say, hey, you want a kid? I want a kid. Let's just have a kid, and like let's just
really
see.
So you would
I'm very like free spirit. I'm very open.
This tweet said it best. Clearly the lights are on, but nobody's home. But I've been knew that this woman was like this for quite some time now. Allegedly, this was the same Drea who left her 7-year-old at home with no food in the house while she went out to chase the streets with Chris Brown. This is that same Drea, allegedly. This is why I tell y'all so much to be careful who you get involved with, be careful who you have children with. Because if somebody has shown you that they're a very shady parent with their own children, why in the world would you hop in bed with them and make one with them? Why? Some people have been saying that the reason why she got involved with him to begin with was because she couldn't find somebody her own age. And if that was the case, the reason why, once again, is because she has made a name for herself, a very bad name for herself. Once again, she hops from bed to bed. She has children for this man, that man, and the other man. She doesn't date with intention. She doesn't date with any motivations for a future relationship to actually build something with the person, a commitment, a marriage. And who's to say she even wants that? Clearly she doesn't, and that's what she's showing everybody. That's another thing that I thought was very interesting about these situations. Always the people who are outside of the situation seem more bent out of shape than the people involved. Notice how this young man has not made one video yet upset about this situation, but so many people have expressed their discontent about the situation that he's in. This is what I be talking about, people internalizing the stuff these celebrities be going through, so much so that they'll be out here going at each other's throats, and the celebrity is at home happy and asleep in their bed somewhere, going out making more bad decisions, and they're happy about it. That's the crazy part. I really feel sorry for that child. Y'all can talk about all the money, like I said, that they'll have as a result of it. But once again, every child deserves two parents who are smart, who are functional, who are non-toxic, who can raise them to be the same. I know for a fact she, because it's a baby girl, if I'm not mistaken, she does not have that in her father and her mother. Unfortunately, she won't be able to depend on them to be the parents that she really needs, and that's really sad for that child. Anyways, I had a lot to get off my chest about this situation, so sorry if I came across as blatant, but y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed and beautiful and safe day.